Hello, today just going to go through some property finance questions that people may well have. If you're looking to buy, renovate, refurbish properties, maybe to obviously buy to sell for a profit, or you're looking to build sort of property portfolio, I'm here to sort of answer any questions that you may have around how to raise money to buy and develop these sort of properties. So this would be buying properties, for example, at auction, buying properties that require refurbishment. This could be a property on the open market where it needs updating. It needs a new kitchen, new bathroom, new flooring, etc. So you want to buy this, refurbish it, and then look to maybe sell it for a profit, or then look to refinance it and start to create a property portfolio which can give you long-term sort of family wealth and monthly income as well for you and the family. So I'll be talking about this today really and going through some sort of common questions that I get. By all means, please do ask any questions that you've got. I try to put out regular videos as well about raising money for property finance. So please do sort of follow my page and hopefully some of the information I put there can be useful for yourself. So let's just sort of start off with a sort of a common question around buying properties at auction. So there could be some great opportunities at auction. You see some really good sort of guide prices, but a lot of the times the properties are sold for quite a bit more than the guide price. I think on average it's sort of 15-25% above the guide price. So when looking at a property at auction, work out certainly what your top bid is. And so I tend to work pretty closely with clients that are looking to buy at auction because you do need to be prepared. So I would certainly say, well before the auction date itself, we need to be speaking. You need to visit the property and you need to come to me and say, Matt, well, the guide price is this, although my top bid will be around this figure, the refurbishment costs will be this. It's going to take me roughly this amount of time and this is what it does involved. And I think I can then, the end value of the property will be this. The whole thing's going to take me X amount of time. And then I can then refinance it for X amount of money per month. I need sort of key questions like this, and then I can then go through them with you. I'd certainly want to look at the property online as well. And then together we can then work out what the finance is going to cost, and I can give you a quotation. So therefore you've got a clear understanding of all the costs that are involved when it comes to buying properties at auction. And so you really do need to be prepared with auctions, because you get two different types of auctions. You get the traditional auctions, where if you do win the bid and you exchange on the day by putting down a 10% deposit, you need to complete in 28 days. So in that 28-day time frame, you're really going to struggle to get a mortgage through in time. So really this is more like a bridging loan application that needs to go in. The other type of auction is a modern method auction. Now on this you get 56 days. You've got a better chance of getting a mortgage through on that type of auction. But say if you do intend to buy, refurbish and refinance, this is short term, so therefore it would fall into the bridging loan space also again really. But say going back to auctions and getting prepared for these, really as much as we'll work out a quotation together based upon your top bid, we also want to go through, see your documents, I need to see proof of funds, how you're going to raise the money for the deposit. I want to see proof of your income, your credit report, ID. We need to get all this up front from yourself. So therefore, if you do win the bid, we can then submit the application straight away. You need to certainly have a solicitor in place as well that can help with the transaction, and make sure your solicitor is experienced with auction purchases, make sure they've dealt with bridging loan lenders before as well. Auctions, you very much do need to be very proactive on the front foot with things really. So yeah, it's all about being prepared. There is a lot of work to do before the auction, but that's a lot better than being in a situation. And I had a client only recently where they've won a bid at auction, they've been let down somewhere, and all of a sudden they're coming to me for help to try and get the finance in place. And obviously the clock's ticking down. So yeah, auctions can be a great place to source properties, but say make sure you be prepared, and we can work together to try and make sure you're confident, know exactly what you're doing, ask as many questions as you want. But yeah, prepared is key. Hopefully I've said that enough times really. Another sort of common question that certainly sort of comes up is if you're a first time investor, I would always say to go get tax advice. It's really important that you understand whether you should buy a property in your personal name or whether you should buy it in a limited company name, for example. Now, from a bridging loan point of view, and for me organising it, whether it's a personal name or a limited company name, doesn't matter to me. but it will have a big impact on yourself. So I would certainly say get tax advice and find out the right entity to buy the property in. Because say if you do buy it in one entity and then you want to change it down the line, let's say for example you buy it in your personal name and then 2 years later you decide you then want to sell the property or you want to move it into a company, effectively you're then selling the property to yourself. You have to pay stamp duty again, all the associated fees again. So get the property structure correct from the start, get the right tax advice is really, really important, okay? And just on that, when it comes to finance, from a bridging loan point of view, whether it's a personal name or a limited company, the rates are the same. When it comes to buy-to-let mortgages, typically buy-to-let mortgages in limited companies are generally a bit slightly higher on the rate and there's more associated fees typically. Although I am seeing that lenders are coming more in line, to be fair, but that's traditionally how it's been, all right? But say by all means, say I try to put out regular information around property finance, bridging loans, development loans, raising money to refurbish properties. So please do follow the page. And if you've got any questions to ask, please put them here. I'll try and answer if I can. How quickly can we get a bridging loan? Now, I always try and target a bridging loan. A month is a good sort of time frame to work towards, really. We have had them quicker. Without a doubt. I think our quickest has been about a couple of weeks. But say, I would always say that we try to work towards like roughly about a month getting a bridging loan through. The key here is obviously you do need to get your documents in. The valuation needs to be done on the property. Now, when it comes to the valuation, to really speed things up, some properties may pass for like an online valuation. Other properties we can do what they call like a desktop valuation. And then also you've got a physical valuation as well, which can take time. So depending upon the time involved, we will sort of pick the lender that maybe suits you depending upon your time involved. So if you do need it really quickly and you need to get a bridging loan completed within a couple of weeks, there's probably certain lenders I would go to that offer a desktop valuation as opposed to lenders that will want a physical valuation done. But say getting your documents in place, as much as we need to get the valuation done, everyone needs to be very proactive in this, and you do need a solicitor that is very proactive, that has got experience in bridging loans and can get this over the line for you as well. Because that's one of the big things, is having your solicitor liaise with the lender's solicitor to get this over the line. Refurbishment money. So let's say you're buying a property which you're then going to refurbish and then you're going to look to sell, for example. Now, the lender's going to want to see that you've got proof of funds for the deposit and also want to see that you've got the money for the refurbishment. So let's just say, for example, you're buying a property at 100,000, you need a £20,000 deposit and the refurbishment cost is going to be 20,000 as well. So the lender wants to see that effectively you've got £40,000 worth of fees and cash available, 20,000 for the deposit and 20,000 for the refurbishment costs. It's important that the lender sees that you've got this money. Now, sometimes clients might say to me, oh, I've got an arrangement with my builder. He's going to get paid when I sell the property. Now, that's a risk, really, certainly for yourself, because if all of a sudden the builder walks away, how does this project get done? From a lending point of view, that's exactly what they'll view it. They'll say, okay, well, you've not got the money for the refurbishment now. If the builder that you've got lined up all of a sudden is not available, you then need to go and get somebody else to do the job. They may not agree to them terms. So you do need to show that you've got cash available for the deposit and the refurbishment as well. Now, on bigger schemes where, let's just say, for example, the refurbishment is maybe 60, 70,000. Now, some lenders offer refurbishment facilities with their bridging loans. So we can do a bridging loan towards the purchase, and we can also set up a refurbishment facility which you can tap into and draw down money when you need to. But on them refurbishment facilities, they're paid in stages and paid in arrears. So effectively, you might have to put in the first £20,000 to £25,000. The lender will then visit the site, see the money you've spent on the property, see the invoices, see the materials, and then say, yeah, okay, we're happy with that. We see the work you've done. We see the property's increased in value. And the lender then releases to you the next stage of money for you to then do the work and then take it from there. So there are them type of refurbishment facilities, but you do need to have money yourself to pay for the first stage because it's paid in arrears. Thanks to everyone else that sort of joined us. If you have got any questions around raising money for property developing, please put them here. I'll try and answer them. And so I do Put a lot of videos out there, so please do sort of follow my page. Hopefully I can be of help with any future projects you've got in the short term or maybe long term as well. Let's just talk about another kind of question here. And this one is actually around sort of small bridging loans. So I do get inquiries from people that maybe want to borrow 30, 40, 50,000 pounds on a bridging loan. Now, you can borrow that amount of money on a bridging loan, but the question is it the right thing to do? You know, I would always say to clients, okay, for that sort of sum of money, you know, can you get money from family? Can you get money from friends or an investor possibly? Can you take a loan out for it? I would say look at these options first of all before you look at a bridging loan. You know, bridging loans are more expensive than the other options I just mentioned to you. So yes, we can do smaller bridging loans, you know, 30, 40, 50,000 pounds, we can do them. But say, look at all the other options available first of all of raising this money. Because say when it comes to a bridging loan, you're going to have lender's arrangement fees, you've got legal fees for yourself, for the lender, there'll be broker fees involved because it's such a small loan, you may have valuation fees, there's a lot of extra cost involved. So look at personal loan maybe, money from family, friends if possible, look at all these other options, and if they're not possible, then of course we can talk about a bridging loan to see how we can help. And another question here I've had is around sort of bad credit. You know, if you have had bad credit in the past, missed payments, for example, defaults, bridging loan lenders can still help with this. You know, they'll consider your credit profile. You know, the cheaper rate you'll get will be dependent upon how long ago the bad credit was actually sort of registered against you and have you satisfied it. But yes, lenders can help if you've had bad credit. Now, if the bad credit was very recent and there's a lot of it, then lenders will probably question, well, why are you borrowing extra money where there's money at the moment which you're maybe struggling to pay back? So I would certainly say at the start, get a copy of your credit profile from a place like Experian, Equifax, Check My File. Have a good look through that. To be fair, that's a good process to go through anyway. If you're looking to raise any money, get a copy of your credit report. And if there is any issues on there, try to resolve them if you can. But say if you've had, for example, a default from a few years ago, which you've now satisfied, that really won't be an issue from a bridging loan point of view. But so yeah, hopefully this video has been of help somewhere. If I can work out and answer the questions, I'll message you directly. But say, hopefully that's been of help. If I can help with any other property finance related questions, please do get in touch. Thank you.